Alright, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of how image uploading goes, or works in Ahau. It's going to be a sort of a brief sketch as opposed to in-depth because I didn't build this feature, but yeah, hopefully it'll give us a bit of insight. So we've got this character here. I want to apply an image to them, so I'm going to edit them. I've actually named my son now. So I'm going to open the developer tools just to see what's going on under the hood. I'm going to upload a profile image, and I don't think I have one of him sitting around right now, so we'll just pick something random. Cool. So here we go. Okay, so we go yes, and we'll see that there's been a GraphQL thing gone off. I wonder what this GraphQL one was. Request, what is it sending? Something WebSocket, don't know, doesn't matter too much. Here's the one I care about. If we want to have a look at what was sent, you can go down here and see it was an operation of type upload file, so this will be relevant for later. It's a mutation, upload file, and then there's some binary being sent. And if we want to have a look at what comes back, we get a blob and MIME type and a URI. So that is how that preview is being immediately shown there. Maybe we'll go and look at the front end code about how that's handled and stuff, but I don't think it's super relevant. Basically, yeah, we send off a manual request, and as soon as something comes back, we preview it here, because you'll notice it hasn't updated over here. So next off, we save this, and you'll see that it's updated there now. So there are actually quite a few GraphQL queries there. I don't think all of them are going to be relevant to us, and some of this is needs optimizing. What were they? So this is a save save fuck up a link. Interesting. What is that? Don't know. Save profile. So I think this is the one that we care about. So this save profile, we call it save because we use this for creation and updating, and then the resolvers take care of whether it's a creation or a mutation, a sort of an update. So here we sent off which profile we wanted to change, and that there was an update to the preferred name, that there was no changes to the alt names being sent, and here's the avatar image data being sent. Yeah, okay, so that's what's happening at the front, in the front end. I wanted to show you where some of that lands in the back end. So it's a little bit convoluted. So we're going to start by looking at whakapapa order. And there's quite a few folders here, mainly because we're sharing components across front end, in mobile and in desktop. So all of the UI stuff is UI components, but stuff like desktop is a desktop setup, and the mobile is the mobile setup. Server is a pretty poorly named folder at the moment. It's actually the GraphQL server. So I think it looks like it's sort of been set up a little bit like a Scuttlebutt plugin. What I want to draw your attention to is that our GraphQL server is made up of, we're using what's called GraphQL Federation, which allows us to sort of weave together a schema from different sources, and this means that we can maintain some sort of core stuff, endpoints related to profile and endpoints related to whakapapa. In the future we'll have ones for artifacts and for stories as well. the nice thing about this is it means that other people can reuse these in their projects and they don't have to have all of these things. So we're going to look at profiles to start with, are we? Yeah, so SSB GraphQL profile. Just make sure I've got the current state of it. Okay, so this thing exports, the things that we really care about are the type definitions and the resolvers, and they come from in here. So type definitions, there was like a saved profile that got sent. So save profile takes a profile input and returns a string. So this, by the way, this type definitions is what, if you've used the GUI for exploring the GraphQL documentation that's generated by this. So it takes an input type profile input. Profile input can have all of these different fields optionally. Avatar image is this stuff. So I don't think we're interested in, this was the sort of saving that happens, but at this point we've already got the blob, so this isn't actually where the blob upload happens. So winding back here, the endpoint we were interested in was this upload file mutation. Okay, so how do we find that? Well, it's not in, if we have a look in type definitions, I don't think we'll find it in here. So where it is in that main, this is SSB GraphQL main, and if we look for upload file, the mutation is declared in here. It takes the type upload and returns the type blob. Blob is just a string. The blob ID, I guess you could call it as well, for the scuttlebutt ampersand prefixed content address. Now this functionality is provided by like another module written by someone else. So upload file has type upload, a scalar upload has been declared. Now to see how, so this just tells you what types this mutation deals with, what comes in, what should come out. The resolvers file is where we see how that is handled. So an upload file, that mutation endpoint, stuff is passed to this resolver, and the pattern's always the same with GraphQL. I can't remember all of these arguments, but it's the second argument is has some context. So sometimes, I think this is the one where sometimes you can find params and queries and stuff, other variables in there. File is one that just sort of turns up courtesy of this GraphQL upload. So the upload type just magically means that we get this in our context, this file. And this gets passed to post upload file. So this is in an SSB folder. And here. So the file is, the file comes in here, and this is where we're actually adding it to our scuttlebutt blobs database. And this is where it, where that blobs hash, MIME type, and URI come from. So in here, this is where we would want to do encryption. And in here, so this may involve adding some other secret option, like secret true, I guess. like that. That's pseudocode. I don't know what the best. I haven't thought deeply about how modifying this API should look. Yeah. Okay. So, what else do I have to show or say? So we've got the resolvers. Right. Okay, well maybe I'll just have a quick look at the front end just to show you where all this weaves in. I haven't dug this up myself, and I haven't looked at these components recently, so this could be pretty exciting. So for that I'm gonna, I think we can go like localhost, what is that? 8080, there we go. So I'm gonna use this because, all going well, I'll be able to use some there's Vue dev tools that I've got installed in Firefox, which will let me find the names of components a little bit more quickly. So here we go, Vue person. I wanted to see this component. I think that component, what's it called? Side view edit node dialog. Whew. Okay. And what about this edit part? What's that? Oh damn. Yeah, that's also inside side view edit node dialog. Okay, let's see if we can find that. So I just happen to know that in components there's this, we collected a bunch of our dialogues. I don't know if this is technically a dialogue anymore, but we'll have a look, eh? Okay, and I'm gonna move this around. Where were we? We've got that avatar. I guess I just want to have a look generally through this component, see what we're looking at here. So this is all templates so far. And if you're this like v-row, v-column stuff is we're using a templating framework called Vuetify, which just gives us material material design if we use these special components. Okay, so that was the template up there. We have the scripting stuff here. Let's see what we have in terms of state or like mutations happening. It may not be happening at this level. So we have data is the local state, computed, watch, methods. Update avatar, what's that? Submit is the saving. I guess actually a mistake I made was I may be looking at the wrong component here. So that's discouraging that that's not opening that. What's going on? It could be that not everything works well in Firefox, which is great. We don't need to worry about that because we're using Chrome. Here we go. That was weird. Okay, so what is this? Avatar. So it's the avatar component. So we're probably gonna end up looking at this. Avatar component this is a listener for an event that's been emitted from that component called update avatar. So that was, this will be what happens, like when that's triggered, it changes the currently displayed avatar image. That's what that's doing. But let's have a look where this avatar is coming from. Import avatar from components avatar. Okay, that's apparently pretty simple. We've got an image picker component. When's that being used? So if editing, if is editing. Okay, so interestingly, this doesn't have local state. Whether it's being edited or not is externally set for this component. That's pretty interesting. Not quite sure why that is, but I'm sure there's a good reason. So is editing, the image picker is visible. Image picker is another component. Cool, we'll just keep diving down. So, okay, now we're down to like a custom, that image clipper. I've seen this before. This is a component that's also a custom component that we're importing that's been written by someone else. But I'm hoping that we will see some really hoping we would see some GraphQL mutations. This is kind of annoying. So after the editing has been done, then this emits an event called submit, and that runs a method called update avatar with the event, and that in turn emits up to this component's parent another message of type update avatar, and it sends the avatar image up, and it closes, I guess it closes whether the avatar is open. So here's where that comes out, update avatar. Okay, this emits, this is a little bit why we're looking into whether it might make sense to be using Vuex, is just to avoid having to pass things up and down between components a little bit like this. Okay, so let's continue following the trail up, back up. We are looking in here for that. This.form.avatar image is being set to that. Blah. I think I've missed something somewhere. So I think this avatar edit dialog, I was a little bit hasty, and this editing, we need to continue down into this, unfortunately. I think this is maybe where there's some GraphQL mutation. So yeah, here's this clipper thing again, which from previous experience I know is the avatar editing thing. And so this is clicking submit. This catches the button click and runs the submit method. So that's, I think, when you're saying, okay, yes, I've done all the editing I want to do. And this is some Clipper related stuff, turns it into, like it gets the blob out of it, prepares some file thing. Here we go, here's the Apollo mutation. Oh, okay, so this is going, alternatively we could have just searched the whole code base for this upload file, but I wanted to sort of walk up and down and show some dev tools to show how I sometimes find things and track how things are happening. Okay, so $Apollo is a special thing that gets attached to the this context, and it gives us access to methods like mutate and query. So mutate, we're sending a mutation, and it's a mutation called upload file. This is just asserting what sort of type it is going to be sending through. Like, this is going to take a variable in called file, and it will be of type upload. And here we are saying, here's the actual query, the mutation, saying it's going to be upload file, and this is dropping the variable in place, saying, so we could do this, I think, just to give your give you an idea of like what those variables are that are being passed around. This is like the reason we have this is because you might have a number of things being passed in, and you can do like multiple mutations, like upload file, post to Twitter could be another mutation that you do at the same time in parallel. And so by labeling what the inputs are going to be from your variables, you can like place them into the mutation that you want that they should be going into. Oh, sorry, that was a little bit verbose or unclear maybe. So this is where that file upload was happening. This uses promises, or this like async await pattern. So we await for the result. I don't know if this is the best pattern right now, but if there was no error, then it continues on, and this is where it takes the results that have come back, which is this is the results we're expecting back, or we want back from that upload, is the blob, the MIME type, and the URI. And I can't honestly remember what this clean image thing is. I kind of don't want to get into that right now, but basically it finishes by emitting a submit event with that cleaned data back up a level. So that's where it's coming out here, and it goes up, 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 and finally gets chucked into the data, which is the local state, which is the form data. Yeah, it gets put into that form data. Sorry, I'm jumping around quite a lot. I don't know if it'll be that last bit will be so useful. Alright, so real quick summary of the things that we covered. We looked at how Whakapapa Order, the app, has this federation. The takeaway is that there's this like main GraphQL, and this is where the file upload resolvers are, and that's where any modifications to encryption of blobs would have to go. There's also these other GraphQL endpoints, and so we build up the API and like extend it with capacity for profile editing and Whakapapa family trees and stuff. And then we looked at how to inspect things. We looked at inspecting the network requests and how you can kind of look and get a peek at which endpoints it's hitting, and have a look at the data that's coming back. By the way, the data always comes back with because there could be multiple replies coming back, because you could have had that upload file as well as like post to Twitter or whatever you want. So it stores the responses to each query that you've done under that key. So this also tells you really quickly which endpoint was actually being hit, so you don't have to fossick around trying to read this if that's helpful. We also looked at the view dev tools, which are quite nice. They're quite a nice way to inspect and see how the interface has been put together. We didn't really look at it, but you can look at props and data, which is the local state, and computed, which is sort of derived, live derived data from what's been happening. There's also other useful tools in here. This will get, if we use Vuex, this will get super interesting as well. So I think this events thing could be quite useful as well, because you can see the things that are being kicked off. So like yeah, so you can see all of those events. Oh look, this is that whole like stack trace of events being of things being passed up through the They seem to be arriving in the reverse time. Maybe the timestamps aren't super perfect. It was this one to this one to this one, I think, was the order. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Hopefully that was useful.